The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Consciously Rising. I'm your host, Jeff Renel, and we're here today with Paul Tijerina. Okay. He is the founder and creator of Superhuman Transformation. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's one of our programs. We have a business. We have a private practice, and we do a lot of stuff in that private practice. It's just Paul C. Tijerina LLC, really. But the SHT Superhuman Transformation is our flagship program. Yeah.
And it is an amazing one as well, too. And so that's why I'm very happy to have you on today. Cool. So we can talk about that. If you don't mind, let's talk a little bit about you first and let the audience know what you're about and how you got here.
Okay.
What is a little bit about your backstory?
For most of my life, I thought I was healthy. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do to be healthy. And I was a gym rat, worked out 2-3 hours every day. If I wasn't in the gym, I felt like something was completely off, you know. I felt like the more exercise I could do, the better. I did a lot of things that everyone does now that they think are healthy. So eating every 2 or 3 hours, you know, to keep your metabolism stoked, and exercising to counter calories. I went through my whole phases of low fat, no fat, avoiding meat, eating egg whites and chicken breast, and I was basically getting most of my information from mainstream sources of information, so like Flex magazine at the time. I don't even know if they still make magazines right now.
I don't know.
Like Muscle and Fitness, remember Muscle and Fitness?
Yeah, I remember all of them,
Flex, you know, so following all those guys and doing all the mainstream conventional wisdom, you know, ideas of what we need to do to be healthy. I was an Army veteran, so after getting out of the military, I went in for one of my checkups, and I was significantly overweight, and it was just something that I don't know, maybe I rationalized away because I was a big muscle gym guy, but I was almost 300 pounds. I was pre-diabetic, had high blood pressure, was put on a statin for my lipid numbers, took Zantac most days for indigestion, Claritin most days for allergies, and just couldn't sleep well, had low energy levels, and this was a very subtle, you know, cumulative effect over time, so I don't really felt like I realized what was going on. But when I got that diagnosis, it was like a huge wake-up call, and it just kind of shattered my entire world, because I was like, I thought I was doing everything right, and now here I am, borderline, like my doctor was seriously like, I'm surprised you're standing here not having a heart attack right now, your blood pressure is so high. And that was my turning point. I mean, that was the point at which I realized I had to do something different, and I started questioning everything that I was doing. You know?
Can I ask something really quick? It's just with you talking about that, it just makes me wonder now, from where you were at back then, as far as you say you worked out all the time, and if you weren't at the gym, you didn't feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. How was your body handling that? How was that holding up from then compared to now? I mean, were you having issues with muscles pulling or anything like that, or were you in tip-top shape that when you didn't have any
muscle-wise? It was different. You know, I feel like I was in shape. I know now from like everything that I'm eating and all my focus on sleep and meditation and smart supplementation and eating the right foods and all that. Like I know that I'm healing and recovering different and better. But at the time, I felt like I was doing pretty good, you know. Like
you understand what I was getting at then, because I just wonder, you know, like, is the body handling it better now than
For sure.
overworking it and not giving it the right supplements and everything back then.
Well, it's like there's several different things going on. Like if I would have been doing what I'm doing now back then, like I would have seen exponentially different results. And at the same time, my fitness back then was not true fitness. It was gym fitness. You know, it was like, no offense to people that do this, and if it's your thing, that's great. But like it was like lifting weights and pushing machines, and I think that that's better than not doing anything, but it's not very functional. And my best friend is the guy that owns the CrossFit gym that I do a little bit of coaching at, but I'm just super passionate about it because number one, he does all my program stuff and is like committed to it 100%. But he's a true functional fitness. Like we want to get people generally prepared for life in general, and that's the kind of fitness that I have now. Like I'm fit, I'm conditioned, I'm truly strong. You know, I have true mobility, full range of motion. My strength is like true functional strength movements versus just being able to do some bench pressing and lat pulls and squats and machine squats and stuff like that. So my fitness was different back then. So I wasn't doing the right fitness, but I feel like I was doing okay. You know, and then nutrition-wise, if I'd have been doing what I'm doing now, like I would have seen like just exponentially different results.
I totally get what you're saying there because I could see the difference too. I used to do marble and granite, and sometimes we get these big, huge guys coming in. Oh yeah, I could carry that, but it was just different type of muscles and different type of fitness and everything. And I ate a lot better back then too than I have been eating lately. But no, I totally get that because now, especially after taking your program. And seeing what you are all about, you're doing the whole spectrum. You're not just doing one part. You got the whole three spectrums with the meditation, all of that.
Mind, body, spirit, something like that.
Yeah. So let me get you back to what you were talking about. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just curious about that and how your body handled and if it was a difference between then and now.
Yeah, it's just like I'm in a different world. You know, like a different understanding of everything. Like fitness is different. Everything about my life is different. You know, if I would have found what I have now, if I would have found CrossFit, and I think CrossFit, you know, is a loaded term because like it's just like anything else. Like some CrossFit gyms do it different. Well, CrossFit, the way that my buddy programs it and understands it, if I would have done that then, and if I would have had my nutrition and sleep and everything dialed in and meditation back then like I do now, like I truly right now would be a superhero. Like I don't even know where I'd be because I feel like so much better than I ever have in my entire life, and it feels like it keeps getting better. The only difference is like as I get older, I do notice my recovery from really intense workouts is slightly different, and I have little, you know, injuries that pop up a little bit maybe more often or something. You know, like that intensity piece of it's a little bit different to handle. But if I'd have figured this stuff out back then, I don't even know where I'd be. I would be a worldwide brand because like I'm passionate about it right now, and I've only been doing it professionally for like 5 years.
Well, you got an amazing program going on.
Thanks, man.
And I was really, really impressed when I went and took your program. So thank you for letting me be able to sit in and take all of that.
That's just the beginning. Like you come to the 10-week program we got kicking off the first of the year.
I'm going to because I got to get back and get serious into my working out and getting back into shape because I let it go the last few years and you know, now it's trying to get that back into my routine.
Yeah.
But I want to get back to what you were talking about. So you
had that diagnosis and then you know, something that was really hard for me to I guess come to terms with, and I think everyone needs to go through this at some point in their life. Like I just started questioning everything I thought I knew about what was healthy. And you know, if I just had this realization that if what I'm doing isn't working, if I'm not getting the results I'm supposed to, or that I'm told I'm supposed to, then some of what I think is healthy is not healthy. And then that opened the door for learning and evolving and experimenting, and that's what got me to where I am now. So, you know, initially I went vegan for a couple of years thinking that meat and fat was my problem. Somehow I got off on this, I know what it was. My father's late wife was going through cancer treatment, and in the alternative cancer therapy realm, like I got really well versed on some alternative cancer therapies, and most of them were kind of veganish. I don't know if you ever heard of the Gerson therapy.
Well,
it's pretty popular, you know.
Exactly. I know people that actually have done it and did really good with it
it's
as
great.
well.
It's very therapeutic, you know. So I went down that route and got really well versed on the Gerson therapy, and of course, because of that, like I went into the vegan realm and felt like meat and fat were the problem. And so for 2 years did vegan. That didn't work out very well for me, and then ended up transitioning. Okay, well this is better than where I was before, but it's not the total picture. And then that opened the door to learning some new stuff, and so ever since then I've just been constantly learning, constantly experimenting, constantly putting like programs together based on my experimentation. and then, for lack of a better term, experimenting on my clients, even though that's not what I'm telling them I'm doing. But I'll do something, and I'll see it work with me or not work, and then I'll take that and say, okay, well, let's try this with my clients. And then, we've worked with hundreds of people in our private practice. Thousands of people have been through the SHT, so we get all this feedback, and so we know it works in general, even though everybody's very bio-individual. So.
And I like what you said too in your program when you were talking about the vegan and when you went vegan and why so many people have great results. And it's a big part of your program too. And that's because they switched into real food and started to choose into just real food and not the processed and everything.
Right.
So of course the body's going to start to feel better in a lot of ways. But also being vegan, as you said in your program as well, you're missing out on certain amino acids that you just can't get from the vegetables and stuff. Is that correct?
Certain nutrients. Yeah, certain nutrients. Yeah. So I think that's a really good point. You just have to understand, if you see results from a program, it may not be because the program is optimal. It may mean that it's better than what you were doing.
Yeah.
So then you have to start to question, so what's optimal? This is a step in a better direction, but maybe it's not the best thing for me. So if I go from eating Hot Pockets and Pop-Tarts every morning for breakfast to having some protein powder and some protein bars and juicing or something like that, that's better. I'll see results, but does that mean that's the way to do things? Maybe not. So
it's just a lot better than the Pop-Tarts.
That's right. Yeah.
Even though I believe you said the Pop-Tarts is one of your weak things, right? It's the strawberry.
Well, when I talked about it, I'm like, man, I used to remember coming home from school and popping that in a toaster, putting some margarine on it or some butter, and
so you don't even take a chance to enjoy something like that anymore?
I have no desire to whatsoever.
Well, that's the key probably, then, no desire, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Because, my one thing, and I'll be honest, is I think food is one of the best pleasures in life.
It is. It can be, yeah.
But sure. I also understand what you talk about, and you mentioned it in your program and everything, is that once you start to eat the right way and take the sugars out of your diet and everything and start to put the healthy food back in, your taste buds change and you get the taste for the healthy food and can find a lot more pleasure within the taste of that.
Yeah. That's part of it, but then also you get addicted to feeling good. So it's part of it is you crave different things, but then the other thing for me and I think most of the people we work with is you crave feeling good, and then you crave how much better can I feel, and then you start to understand, well, that doesn't serve me. So if I do that, it's not going to make me feel very good. So you start to condition yourself for the right things.
Yes.
And you do have different cravings, but all of us would. If you had a plate of freaking amazing chocolate chip cookies or something sitting here, and it would taste amazing. There's no question about it. But I know how that's going to make me feel tomorrow. So it's okay, I use how I want to feel for helping me make my decisions today. Something like that.
No, that makes perfect sense, because on what I do for a living and stuff on the Theta Healing and teaching people emotional, it's all about loving yourself. And so if I love myself, I'm going to make the best choice for me at that moment, and that's what you're doing at that time. So I agree with you 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
My taste buds might win over sometimes on that, going, Jeff, but the best thing for that moment is that delicious taste.
Yeah. We can rationalize stuff in a lot of crazy ways, So
I see on your website, we're going to have to take a quick commercial break, but I see on your website that you have all kinds of different recipes and everything that you give people. And I know there's some amazing recipes out there that are vegetarian. I know there's a chocolate cake I saw somewhere where it was just zucchini and all these other amazing things in there. So there are other substitutes that we could get used to instead of having all the sweets within it.
Oh, yeah. Anything that you think that you have to give up, there's an alternative for it. There's a lot of times when people make the transition, there's all this anticipation or anxiety or apprehension around having to give up certain things. Well, there's real food versions of that, or at least approved ingredient versions of that thing, whatever it is. But I think the longer that you commit to the way that we do things, most of us start to gravitate more and more towards pure 100% real food versus having all these approved no-nos made with the right ingredients. We start to even move away from that stuff. But there are options out there for just about everything, and it's a wonderful world of just great stuff, because, I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit, meats and fats and starches and sugars and fruits and sweet. It's just it's a broad spectrum of a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, really and that's what I like, because I'm not going away from the things that I truly, truly love. I might have to get away from the ice cream and stuff like that, because that's my one weakness, but but there's alternatives there as well too.
Yeah.
Let's get back onto that as soon as we get back from this commercial break. So
cool.
We will be right back. Thank you.
Retrospects is a purveyor, if you will, of historical eyewear. Retrospects is located on the second floor, right across from the chandelier bar. So when you look at our store from the outside, it looks like there isn't much going on in here. And then you open the drawers. We actually carry authentic pieces from the late 1890s to the 1990s. We have almost 3,000 pieces in here. It's like a treasure trove reveal. We do have a collection of new glasses that we have reproduced ourselves. It's called the Cuthbert and Chen collection. The safe is our jewel. It's our baby. We love it. It's from 1903. It weighs as much as a car. It's solid steel. We use the safe to hold our most precious pieces, our museum collection, if you will. People come in to find glasses that are not something they're going to find everywhere else. Not something all their friends are wearing, and something that they can tell that story. We sell stories as much as we sell glasses. We have pieces that we can associate with very famous people from history, movies, special events that happened in the past. And some of the favorites are the Ray-Ban shooter that Johnny Depp wore in Fear and Loathing of Las Vegas, the beautiful frame France Parisian plastic aviator worn by Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon. Retrospects is not just about glasses. It's about the experience. It's about how these glasses make you feel. We are a full-service optical shop, somewhere where guests can come to get repairs, restoration, can put their prescription in, can get them a quick pair of sunglasses for the pool, and can give them a really great, just fun experience.
Welcome back to Consciously Rising. I'm Jeff Renel, and I'm here with Paul. How you doing? Paul Tijerina, right?
Tijerina.
Tijerina.
Thank you, Jeff.
I should have just said Paul.
We get a different pronunciation every time.
Yeah, I know. I should have just blew off.
Butchered my name my entire life. I don't care.
Okay. Well, I've known you as Paul T the whole time for about, I don't know, it's been about 5 years now that we've known each other.
Yeah. When I was in the military, everybody called me T because, it's just way easier.
Yeah, sometimes for me that's definitely the case.
Yeah.
So you were telling us a little bit about how you went through your transformation and everything like that, and of course that's probably what sparked you and motivated you to start the Superhuman Transformation. What makes this different than any of the other ones?
Well, I feel like we tie together a lot of things that we call our foundations for health that a lot of people don't do the same way, So we have, I think nutrition is the easiest place for most people to start because it gives you the quickest results, the biggest bang for buck. When people are trying to change their health, they understand like food has to be a huge piece of it. And so if you can get people to make the switch to real food or some version of it, they start to see tremendous results. But that's not all there is to health. Like there's a lot of other things that play into health. And so we've boiled it down to what we call our foundation. So that includes setting circadian rhythms. And you know what that is, right?
Yes, for sleep, correct?
Yep. So aligning your biological rhythms with the rhythms of the earth and the rising and setting of the sun, the light and dark cycles and stuff like that, because that gives you good sleep patterns, good energy levels during the day. It facilitates proper hormonal balance and some other stuff. So, and then meditation and mindfulness, I think, is extremely important, especially in this modern, chaotic, technology-driven world. Everybody's minds are just on nonstop, and we're always stressed and depressed and all kinds of different things. So, and then grounding, earthing, being outdoors, being in nature, Functional fitness, we're big fans of. I'd say fitness, any way you can get it is going to be better than not doing it at all, but I'm a huge fan of CrossFit, especially if it's run by someone that understands general preparedness and getting people ready for, functional for everyday life activities. And then social interaction is very important for human beings. So if you tie all that stuff together, that's what we consider our foundations for health. And I just don't feel like anyone is pulling it together the way that we are, communicating it the way that we are. You've been to some of my talks, and I just feel like, we're modern, we're hip, we're in your face in just the right way, we're a little bit abrasive in just the right way, we're a little bit rebellious. Our imagery is like, we're not, and no offense to the people that like this, but I mean, we're not a flower, leafy, apple nutrition organization. We're all about like confidence and
you're straight to the point.
Straight to the point, and addressing things that most people probably wouldn't want to address because they want to tiptoe around stuff and make things nice and pleasing and pleasant and easy and amicable for everything and everybody. And we just believe in what we believe in. We're all about making this work in a modern lifestyle and having a lot of love and compassion for yourself and enjoying the process and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I could talk for hours about it.
Yeah, well, and that's what I love about it, and I was really, really impressed, is because you do have a little bit of everything in there. I mean, truthfully, this is almost like a program that I've been wanting to create. I mentioned to a couple times, I want to do this stuff with the emotional and get the fitness in there, and then the food as well, too. And you pretty much have it all going on already in your program. I didn't know you already had all so much, and it's there because you are helping them meditate, which is a huge part. Setting the rhythm and for the sleep cycles is important, because in the middle of sleeping is when the body is allowed to heal itself and is healing itself, and that's why meditation as well is important, because it gives you a chance to quiet and relax and start to heal the body as well again. So you have a little bit of everything in there, and it worked with me. It works with my truth, and it works with the way I see things. So I really think you got a great program going in here.
Yeah, awesome. And it all kind of evolved out of so when I figured out the nutrition piece, or I say figured out, no one ever has it completely figured out. This is a lifelong journey of experimentation, constant fine-tuning, constant honing. I mean, I think it just makes it very exciting, and what works for us today is not going to work for us in 3 months and 6 months, and because everything's always changing,
Yeah.
But for me, it was like a natural progression. Okay, now that I've kind of learned a lot about this, how do I improve my sleep? And then once I learned that, okay, now I got to teach this to people, And then it's like, I know meditation is important. How do I do it? And so same thing with everything else. I tinker around with it. I learn from some experts. I go on retreats, and then I'm like, okay, now I want to teach my people this, So it's just like understanding that all the things that I am trying to do to make myself feel as amazing as I possibly can, I want to share that with other people.
That's the same as me.
Yeah.
Emotionally, the way I feel now, it's just like I want to share it. I want people to know how easy it is once you understand it. It's basic, and I think it goes back to what we were talking about a minute ago, and that is, how do I love myself, and what choice do I feel like making at that moment? Is it going to support who I want to be in the long run, or is it going to take me away from what I'm trying to be? And so I think that's all about unconditional love,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. You're a good guy, man.
So are you. You're wonderful. So really quick, I want to ask, can you give the listening audience a couple tips on how can they start to achieve better sleep every night? Because everybody's complaining. Well, everybody has the stress, and when it comes to trying to put that head down at night, it's hard to get that stress out of the head at times. So can you give our listening audience any advice?
For sure. I think with sleep, sleep is really funny because everybody gets hung up on I can't sleep anymore. I just, everyone has their obligations, their work schedules, their families, their kids, anything and everything that's going on with their life situation. So, but we don't recommend changing the duration of your sleep in the beginning, because there's a couple of different ways you can improve sleep. You can improve sleep with longer duration, but you can also improve the quality of your sleep. So if you can do one of those two things or both of them, you're going to see some results. And we're always looking for better. We're looking for little increments of better, because better is better. Even if it's just a little bit better, it's better than it was before, So there's things that you can do, if I'm on the spectrum of I'm having horrible sleep and I can do something that I just sleep just a little bit better. I mean, I'd take that over not getting better, you know. So I'd recommend like spending time outside every day. What we see to set circadian rhythms, which is to align your body with the biological rhythms of the rising and setting of the sun and light-dark cycles. We see in the literature it's somewhere around 30 minutes of bright outdoor light exposure every day. And if you can do that, then your body starts to get this intuition. It's like this infinite intelligence, this innate intelligence that understands light direction, light intensity, you know, light source, and then that's changing and shifting throughout the day. So if I can get outside, cumulative 30 minutes, it could be all at one time or it can be spaced out. My body starts to understand this is where the Earth is in, you know, in respect to like the rotation or whatever. I want to get that
I totally get what you're saying. It sets its clock with the
It
Earth
understands
clock.
that, you know, like it's like I don't have to think about it. I just have to be out there and I have to experience it, you know, and then my body in its innate infinite intelligence understands that direction, intensity, time of year, everything. And so it starts to adapt things inside the body to align it with that, you know. So I'd say getting outside would be one thing.
I'm sure you have heard, because you're talking about setting it, and that's, you know, when we go out into space, ours actually changes and sets with the rhythm of Mars and the daytime of the Mars. So, did we come from Mars? Or is it just something out in space? Who knows? But no, I
y'all
totally
talk about that on here?
Huh?
Sometimes? Have y'all talked about that on here?
No, but we can. Totally open to it.
Not my area of expertise, but I'd be interested in hearing about it.
Okay,
sure.
well, we've got a couple great episodes on with Brad Olson and stuff about aliens and giants and all that fun stuff.
Cool.
So we'll have more too.
Yeah.
But so anyhow, no, I totally get what you're saying there. And it's true, the body will start to set its rhythm with the Earth and the timing of that. So that, no, I like that. I didn't even think about that.
And it takes time, you know, like if I go and I sit outside for 30 minutes and I do it for one day, like my sleep might not dramatically improve that night. But if I do that consistently, you know, for a couple of weeks or a month, then I'm going to notice a dramatic improvement in my sleep patterns without doing anything else different.
And you're going to be getting yourself some vitamin D, which will probably help you out a little bit too.
There's an infinite number of benefits that come from being outside. You know,
No, I agree 100%. And then, so what about like exercising? Would exercising, if I tried to exercise a little bit a day, would that help my sleep rhythm too? Or
it might
help me sleep
It'd be good for you no matter
better?
what. But I mean, I'm not sure how much it would improve your sleep patterns. But yeah, it would be good for you.
Okay.
For sure, you know.
Okay, awesome. So you were talking about sleep, and then what was the other one? I'm sorry, I'm losing it right now.
I mean, we could talk about anything. Shoot.
No, you were talking about the two things you help people. Oh, meditation. I'm sorry.
Oh,
meditation.
Yeah.
Okay. What's some advice that you could give to people about meditating? Because I know a lot of people are always like, "How do I even meditate? How do I start?"
Yeah. It's just like everything else. I'm drinking sparkling water, so I might burp here. So it's just like everything else. You know, like with nutrition, there's so many different information sources coming from so many different directions. I don't know. You know, like to me, meditation is about having a focus, noticing your mind drift, and coming back to a focus. You know, so and meditation to me is not visualization, you know. So there's a lot of meditation that's actually visualization type meditation. I think that's extremely beneficial and it's great and wonderful and powerful, but that's more visualizing. So to me, meditation is about training yourself to sit in space in silence, and silence means it's a kind of like a rhetorical, euphorical silence, because you could have noise and stuff going on all around you, but it's like sitting in space and sitting still, choosing a focus, noticing your tendency to think or have thoughts or be completely lost in thought and gone. And then once you notice that, you just simply come back to your focus, you know. And we train meditating, listening to sounds in the environment. We train in feeling the inner body, which we kind of picked up from Eckhart Tolle and his whole Power of Now and practicing the Power of Now. And then also focusing on the breath, which is a very traditional focus. But, you know, I mean, it's pretty basic and simple, and I think a lot of people need it and would benefit from it. But I think there's just so many different ways to meditate that it's confusing for most people. You know, like
I agree.
I think TM is great because it's a mantra-based meditation, and then, you know, I've done like things like Deepak Chopra's, what was that called, the primordial something. But anyway, anything that helps you sit, have a focus, notice yourself think or lost in thought, and come back to your focus is going to be extremely powerful.
Yeah, I agree. No, and that's it. There's too many different ways. There are too many people throwing out all these ideas of how to meditate, and it gets too confusing.
Yeah. And
I agree. I think it's a personal journey. So how does it work for you? you know, but the main thing is just to be still for a while, because like you said before, we're in such a fast-paced world. If I can just be still for a little bit, that's good for my body, that's good for my stress level. And if I could do a little bit every day, that's going to be beneficial by the end of the week. Yeah,
absolutely. So like talking about that, I was talking about my best buddy over here that owns the Combine, and you know, I get into these because I'm always teaching, so I always get into these structured ways of doing things, you know. So first you do this, and then you sit, and you do this, and gratitude, and then you have a focus, and you choose this, and you cycle through, you know. But if you just sit for like 15 to 30 minutes in the morning without even really knowing about what meditation is supposed to be, but if you just sit out in silence, you know, and just kind of just have some time alone to yourself. Most people don't do that. Most people get up, and from the time they wake up, they're going. Like they just, it's like, I got to get out the door, I got to make breakfast, I get the kids ready and go to work, and then you come home. And it's just like, it's nonstop. So even if you didn't even know how to meditate, if you just took 15 minutes to sit in silence, and that doesn't mean it has to be silent. It could be all kinds of stuff going around. But if you just sat still for 15 minutes in the morning, your life would transform, I think. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I agree. And you would start to transform because you would go beyond that. Because that's it. I think with meditation, the stuff of the visualization and all that different stuff, I think that's more the advanced side. Once you really get into meditating, then worry about visualizing about this and that, you know. The first thing, just be quiet, be still, you know, observe, be present. And that's the key thing. Be present in a lot of ways. Let your mind drift, like you said, then come back and be present again. Feel the body, observe the body. That's the most thing. You know, nobody's paying attention to their body and what they truly feel like every moment of the day. And if you do start paying attention, then everything that you're talking about and then what I do and stuff with the emotion level, you're going to want to do because you want that body to feel so much better. Yeah, you start getting feedback, you know, you start getting in touch with yourself, and yeah, you're right. Like most people just don't sit with any kind of, that's why we teach those different focuses, listening, feeling the body. You start to gain this you know, this intuition about like, okay, well, I'm getting feedback now. Like I need to change something. Something's a little bit off, or could be a little bit better. You know, so it starts to help you make better decisions. Yeah. So yeah, I love that. Because it is. It's all about us first, you know, and we have to start to realize that and come back to us because the outside. I'm so glad that you said that. Yes. The outside problems are what we feel are, you know, creating it, but it's always us that's creating it within and stuff. And so when we relax and calm down, we get so much more out of it. So yeah, no, I agree. We better take a quick commercial again here, and then we will be right back and talk about some good food choices. Cool. All right, we'll be right back. Thank you.
Put her hand in mine and said she loved me so very long ago.
Hey, how's it going? You can just throw your name up on the list and we'll get right to you. Yeah, thanks, dude. Thanks for coming in. Let me just clean this spot up and then we'll get right to you. You can hop on up if you're ready. Welcome to the shop. You need a shave too, though, right?
I don't know if I would accept a shave from somebody who's unshaven.
I look like a child when I have a clean-shaven face.
No, I wouldn't want a child cutting my hair. And I'd also need to know that the blades have been sanitized thoroughly.
I can guarantee you that the barbicide is 100% authentic, and these are sanitized tools I'm using.
Well, what is the...
Have you ever gotten a straight razor shave?
Is there any other kind? Stuff smells like Irish Spring.
Brings me back to childhood.
Did you grow up in a chemical plant? Hurry up.
Yeah, well, you know. Now you look like $1 million.
Well, that's your job. I'll be sure and mention your facility during my show tonight.
All right, welcome back to Consciously Rising. I'm here with Paul T. We're talking about the superhuman transformation. Yeah, just cut it down short. Just let's not screw around this time. I'm laughing right now because Paul mentioned something when we were off the air, and so if you're usually listening live and you realize that we're on a little bit early tonight, Why is that, Paul?
Oh, because I go to bed early. Jeff was like, I want to get you on the show. Can you do, what'd you say? When do y'all usually do it?
6 to 7?
Yeah. And I was like, man, can we do it earlier? Because I'm in bed by like 7 most nights.
So we don't want to mess up his circadian rhythm at
No,
all?
I would have done it for you, for sure. But you got to ask.
No, I'm more than happy to accommodate.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were just laughing too because we're running out of time already and there's still so much to cover. So I'm going to just let you go because I want you to talk about the ins and outs of food, where people might be making mistakes.
Wow, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about just on that alone. Well, what's important to people? What should they know out there?
As far as what?
What are the myths of food? Let's go right there. What are some of the myths of food?
Well, I mean, some of the things that I abided by when I was like doing my whole thing that I thought was healthy. Low fat is not healthy.
Okay,
you know,
good.
The right kind of fats are good for you. You know, and especially saturated fat from traditional sources. So low fat is not good for you.
So if I'm going to choose some milk, I want the whole milk?
Yeah, if you're going to do dairy, you want full fat dairy. You know, when we're eating, and this is in the context of doing everything else right, you know, but if you're gonna cook, you know, we use traditional fats. Coconut oil is great. You know, everyone's big on coconut oil, although the American Heart Association recently came out with that whole thing bashing oil because of the saturated fat content. But you know, coconut oil is great. Real butter, like we love. Butter has a lot of beneficial nutrients in it, and butter gives you some sources of medium chain triglycerides, so you can kind of teach your body how to use fat for fuel when you eat butter. So it's got like this multi-benefit, you know, thing going on with it. So butter's amazing.
And butter makes everything taste better.
Butter makes everything taste better. If you have a problem eating your vegetables, cook them in butter, and there you go. And then you get the benefits of butter. That's the thing. Like, people don't understand. Butter is good for you. So if you cook with butter, you're giving your vegetables or whatever it is the butter nutrient upgrade. That's actually a really good thing.
So you're talking real butter, though. So
Real
how
butter.
do they distinguish real butter at the store?
It should say real butter versus, like, you know, I can't believe it's not butter, or country crop,
okay,
or something like that.
So yeah, if I'm
or
looking
margarine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Would they slip anything in real butter that you would definitely?
I'd probably read the ingredients, you know, just in case.
Okay.
Even though you really can't even trust labels that much. But I mean, there's reputable brands out there. But, you know, we have people on budgets, and we just say, just get real butter.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, so the one thing I still can't believe I haven't brought up yet, because it's my favorite part of the superhuman transformation, bacon.
Yeah, everybody loves bacon. Everybody loves bacon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bacon's great. Bacon, I mean, we just say meat in general is great. I mean, if you eat nothing but bacon, you know, I mean, you're missing out on a broad spectrum of nutrients that you get from other meats and different sources. And but, you know, bacon's a great piece of what we do, and it adds flavor to everything. And I mean, it's, you know, it's our beef jerky.
I love it. I love it. It's my favorite thing is bacon. I think almost everybody's favorite thing is bacon. So one thing that I definitely, through what I've studied and stuff like that, I look at the body and I think some of the reasons we get old is because we're lacking nutrition in certain parts of our body, and it's starting to, you know, fall apart or whatever in that aspect. So with your style of eating, on eating real foods, do you actually look at different aspects too about what kind of nutrition you're getting, mixing things up to make sure that you get different?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So in the beginning, our focus with people is just making the transition from doing the wrong thing to eating real food. So we don't get very complicated about you need to have this often and other things like that. We just have our basic eating guidelines. And so when we eat food, most people out there eat food for energy. Okay, they're eating because they feel like they need to eat it to give themselves energy. And food certainly gives you energy to a degree. But when we eat food, we want to eat food for nutrients, and nutrients are used for all kinds of different purposes inside the body. And so if I can eat a food that has a lot of nutrients, then my body can use those nutrients for a lot of different things, not just energy. You know, so that's the problem with the whole looking at food just based on calories argument. So we eat food for nutrients, and then energy we look to be created internally. We call it self-sufficiency. You could also equate that to maybe some fat burning. So we try to train the body how to make its own energy, how to burn its own fat for fuel, and we eat food for nutrients. So in the beginning, the focus is just switching over to real food and some basic protocols around trying to train the body how to use fat for fuel. And then as time goes on, and as you become a little bit more veteranish with real food, then you definitely want to start to broaden your nutrient horizons and venture into understanding, okay, well, I need to make sure I have a broad spectrum of plant matter, and we have all kinds of different guidelines that we use to teach people that. You want to start thinking about not just eating muscle meat and chicken breast and, you know, bacon. You know, you're going to start venturing out to thinking about, well, I want to mimic what my ancestors did and try to eat the entire animal. And so, you know, you can incorporate all kinds of different things. You know, we recommend when you eat meat that you eat fatty cuts, bone in, and skin on, which to most people out there sounds crazy because they've been taught that saturated fat's bad for you and the skin, you know, all this other stuff. But if I eat stuff, I want to eat in a way that resembles me and putting me together, you know. So if I eat a chicken breast, I will get muscle meat and I'll get dense protein, and that's about it. If I eat a drumstick, I'll be eating the skin of the drumstick, so I give my body what I need to make my skin. And if I eat the cartilage of the chicken wing or leg or whatever, then I'm giving myself cartilage to make cartilage, you know. So it's like the more that I can eat in packages and think entire animal and think diversity, then I start to broaden my nutrient spectrum, and that just seems to facilitate feeling even more amazing than just doing the basics.
And so in general, I mean, if people are missing this point here, what is that doing for the body then?
It's giving your body what it needs to work with to contribute to heal itself, to contribute to structure, function, form, anything and everything that happens inside the body, biochemical, metabolic, you know, our ability to think and neurotransmitters, they all have nutrient precursors. So they're all based on nutrients.
It's our true medicine.
Yeah.
And
it's what makes us us.
Yeah. And I mean, me, with all the stuff that's going on with the healthcare and all of that, I think the government needs to get away from all of this, because we need to put our health in our own hands. You know, I don't want to pay for somebody that's not taking care of themselves. Hey, I take care of myself, or at least to a point. You know, I'll get back into being a lot more strict about myself, but I think each person needs to take care of themselves and learn how to take care of themselves in the proper way. And a lot of us are just misunderstood and misinformed, like you're talking about as well too.
Sure.
So
yeah, government. I don't know. It's just it, and so if you pull government out of it, then you're like, okay, so then who do you go to, right? And there's just as many people out there doing the wrong thing as there are the right thing. You know, you know, there's very few people that I feel like that have the understanding that I do. But I have a group of cohorts, and there's more and more. It's like a grassroots movement. You know, like you said, people need to take control of their own health. That's what's beautiful about where we're at right now, is there's been so much suffering that so many people are like, okay, I'm tired of this. Like, this is not working, whatever this is. So there's got to be a different and better way. And it's like this grassroots movement. You know, everybody knows what GMOs are. Everybody has heard the term organic. Everybody understands real food is better than processed food, or not everybody, most people. You know, the question is, like, what's your definition of real food? Well, whatever your definition is, it's going to be better than eating freaking waffles and pizza every day. You know,
or having fake sweetener and all of that as well too.
So I think it's a beautiful thing. The time that we're in, tragically, there's a lot of suffering. There's been a lot of suffering, and but there's people like us that are here to guide people. And what we do is from the heart. Like, if I was a billionaire, I would be doing exactly what I'm doing right now. I want to share this message of feeling amazing and give it to as many people as I can, because I have so much compassion for people. You know, I just look into the eyes of people, see people, you know, at grocery stores, and I'm just like, I want to give them what I know, you know, because it's just like, there's a different way, there's a better way.
It just doesn't have to be that hard. Life is pretty easy, actually, once you start to understand it. It throws its challenges at us, and those are unexpected and can get us a little twisted at time. But you use the right tools, you go into a little meditation, whatever, you relax, you get past it, and you start moving forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we were talking about before coming on, when you start to understand this stuff and you start to tinker with it and you start to feel better, then everything else gets better. You know, that's the thing that I want people to understand, is like, when you start to figure this stuff out, everyone, or a lot of people, come to us with a lot of superficial, you know, expectations of what they want to change, and body composition is a big piece of it. Or maybe maybe I shouldn't say superficial. They're coming with expectations of specific symptoms and issues they want to resolve. And what they find is, when they start to fix this stuff, yes, those symptoms and issues resolve or get better, but then everything gets better, because now I show up to life different and better. And when I feel better, everything about my life is better. And so we had talked about it before too. You got to make yourself a priority. So many of us are so used to giving and taking care of others and sacrificing ourselves to help others, and it sounds great, but you have to make yourself, like, I think our first value statement is we make ourselves a priority so that we are better to teach other people how to make themselves a priority.
Yeah.
You know, you have to make yourself a priority, because a better you is better for this world. It's better for all the causes that you believe in. It's better for your family members and your friends and your work environment, everything else. So focus on making yourself better. Being selfish is actually extremely selfless. It's selfless.
Yeah, I want to high five on that one there, because that's what I'm all about. And I get flack on it in the spiritual world and stuff, because you have to be selfish first. I didn't learn how to love other people unconditionally, or even start to understand how to, until I learned how to love myself first unconditionally.
How could you teach it otherwise?
Yeah.
You know,
you have to have that bit first. And the best way I explain it to people when they do start to get upset, it's like, listen, when I go home, I have to be in a good mood. Otherwise, I infect all my kids and stuff, and they become a bad mood. And then if I have a significant other, they get in a bad mood. And then it's a big downfall from there. But if I put myself in a good mood before I get home, then everybody stays happy.
Yep.
And so it's just like in the plane. Put that oxygen mask on before you go help somebody else.
That's exactly right.
And yeah, I mean, I've noticed a big difference. And, I'll be honest, I haven't been 100% on everything you've taught me, but I've been more conscious, and that's what I love too. I was heading out of town, and I was like, well, I've kind of cheated a little bit, but I've tried. And you're like, that's it. Just be a little bit more conscious.
Being aware and making better choices. Yep.
And that's truthful. And every day, if you just keep making a little bit better choice, it just keeps getting better and better.
Over time, your trend line is going to be always going up, even though in between you got these little ups and downs.
And you got to expect these ups and downs as well too. But the difference is huge, because if I had too much coffee that morning and I didn't really eat my breakfast, and then I get in a stressful moment, then it's like, really, and you all of a sudden get upset, because that's the body's natural reaction to give you energy anyhow. When you're low of energy, is to get upset, natural flight and fight syndrome. But I've noticed when I did have, I try to at least have an omelet every morning or something like that since I've had your class, or I'm trying to have oatmeal if I'm on the run. And feel way better. Give you a burst of energy right outside the door, and I've been able to tackle so many things, because I have unfortunately been the guy just constantly running, not taking the moment to meditate and stuff like I normally do. But I'm able to meditate on the run and stuff a lot of times too. But
cool.
It is what it is. But I'm such good stuff, man. I love it. I love what you guys are teaching over there. Do you want to talk about any other programs or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, we're about to shut it down. So we do have, so you mentioned, we have a private practice. We work with people on all the foundations that we talked about earlier. So if anyone ever needs any help with any of those areas, nutrition, and in the nutrition realm, like, we're experts at a lot of it. Like, we've been vegan, we understand smart ways to be a smart vegan, paleo, low carb, ketogenic. I think that covers most of it. But I mean, anything, and if you have specific issues, autoimmune, digestive issues, low energy levels, sleep is off, you want to learn to meditate, like any of the things that we've discussed, like, we can teach you on a private basis for sure. But we have our flagship program, which is the Superhuman Transformation. We abbreviate it SHT, which we love because we use that in all kinds of creative ways, But the Superhuman Transformation is a 10-week program that ties together all those foundations. The only thing we don't do in the SHT is the fitness piece of it. We just recommend that you do that on your own, and we give you recommendations for it. But in the SHT, we teach all our foundations. We teach real food, setting circadian rhythms, meditation and mindfulness, being outdoors, cultivating community, natural solutions for the home. I mean, it's a comprehensive foundational program. So we have another one kicking off in January. We're launching a membership program, which is going to make it much more accessible. So in the past, you'd have to pay anywhere from $400 to $800 to $1,400 privately to go through an SHT by itself. And now we're giving people an option to have a monthly fee of anywhere from $30 to $50 or something like that. And that monthly fee gives you access to the SHT 10-week program, and then everything that we offer throughout the year. So we have all kinds of different classes and workshops that we do.
And they got amazing stuff. Your website is fascinating. There's so much information on there. You can go to how-to videos on how to prepare certain foods. You had the one in there, what is it, the Bobar salad. I mean,
that's our infamous, we're going to trademark that.
You had the Conan music going in the beginning. I was all motivated. I was like, give me something to chop up, man. But they got great how-to videos. I mean, all kinds of information, what to buy, even where to go to find it as well, too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Links, Amazon.
What is the website?
It's Tijerina.com. So PaulCtijerina.com.
And we'll have it on the links under the show. So definitely click onto it. Paul is absolutely amazing, and so is everybody. Everybody you work with over there is absolutely wonderful. Kobe
it's a great community over there.
Combine
is.
CrossFit.
Shout out to the CrossFit Combine, which is my home base for fitness, and it's a great community. But we're building amazing people there, because I'm gonna start tearing up saying this, but we look at our people compared to most people out there. Our people understand how to eat. They feel different. They interact different. They're happy. They make good decisions. They're focused. They're intelligent. They're compassionate, and they can move. Like if the power grid goes out, I want these people with me, because they can climb and crawl and carry and push and pull, and most of them understand how to eat, how to sleep, how to meditate. It's like, we're creating superhumans over there. We really are.
You are, and they are happy, because I see them all the time. My place is right next door, so they're walking right next to me all the time. I'm walking in and out, and they're always happy. They're always smiling, saying hi, even when they look like they're all beat up after working their butt off in CrossFit. But,
and they look good, because looking good is an indication of like eating right and sleeping right happy. And fun, fitness and being happy, and it's great. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for coming on, Paul, and I'll have you on again sometime soon here, because we're definitely coming into that new year, and people probably want to know how to really get motivated and get going on that as well.
Tons of stuff.
So Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and please tune in again for next week's show.